Power!
Today we're discussing Kamen Rider V3, episodes 19 to 27.
Welcome, listeners, to Henshin Power V3, where three friends have 3 minutes to talk about tokusatsu. I'm Nathan.
I'm Jake.
I'm Chris.
Are you going to be okay? This is our second attempt at recording this episode, folks.
This is our second times 300th attempt at recording this because Streamyard hates us.
No, Streamyard hates you.
Yes.
Yes, and I don't know why. We were blaming my internet at first. The internet. We realized it wasn't your fault.
I don't know what's going on. I really don't know. All I know is that StreamYard is worse than the Dark Dimension for you.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Take your pick. Whatever Pocket Dimension or Hell Realm that you can from Power Rangers, because I think they ended up with like 3 or 4 by the time it was all said and done.
I think this is beyond Power Rangers Hell Realms. I think somebody made a Crossroads deal with Crowley to mess tonight up.
Oh my gosh. Well,
that was a supernatural reference.
There you go.
I understood that reference.
I didn't.
Well, then you need to watch Supernatural, sir.
That's 15 seasons, sir.
And how many seasons is Ultraman?
Don't use logic with me. At least more than 5 Ultraman seasons are good.
You haven't watched it, so you can't make judgments.
I'm just saying, I hear the first 5 are great and the rest, eh.
Don't believe everything you hear.
No.
Sure. But anyway, while StreamYard seems to be cooperating,
you just jinxed it. It's on you if anything goes wrong now.
You know what? Hopefully, the pattern that I noticed with today's batch of episodes will apply to StreamYard as well.
Rise from your grave.
Because
it's certainly been mummified so far.
I was going to say, there's a lot of death going on right now, and I am not happy about it. You guys, I mean, I've already asked this question, so I'll ask it again. Do you guys know what that's from?
I done forgot.
My brain's fried.
I understand. It's from. Did you guys ever play? It was originally an arcade game, and then it was on the Sega Genesis. You ever played Altered Beast?
No.
I have not played that one. No.
Oh, okay. Because that's how the game starts in the first level. Because it takes place in ancient Greece, and the character you play as literally gets resurrected by the gods at the beginning. And that's the opening line from that game is one of the gods saying, "Rise from your grave," and then you pop out of a grave and you start punching monsters because that's what you do. That's certainly That's certainly what I would do. If I got
or if you work for Shocker, you start punching Kamen Riders.
Yeah, there you go. Or, in your case, you get back on StreamYard and then you punch your computer.
I'm not punching my computer for StreamYard's problems. I'll just go and find the person who created hey, we need to talk.
Well, according to you in the previous recording that is now officially lost, unless we start a Patreon and then we can share that because it would be funny, Rito installed your internet, so...
I think he's also running StreamYard. I think he's trying to sabotage your show because he's not on it.
He's not on it.
He's mad at you for being out of work.
Hey, he blew himself up, okay? Yeah. And
now it's Rito's ghost.
Rito's ghost. Ghost
Yes.
Rito. You're trying so hard. You're like, I must summon the Rito. Where is the Rito? I must have the Rito.
I'm just referencing your past work, sir.
Oh, goodness gracious. All right, so we're talking about Kamen Rider V3 episodes 19 to 27 tonight, as Jake so wondrously mentioned to us. So, a few credits that I want to mention here. And again, shout out to the Generation Kakaida DVDs. They continue to be a wealth of information on this show. Although I have been finding far more typos in some portions of the disc than I would like. I'm just saying. Sometimes there's inconsistent spellings for the monsters. Just saying. What was that?
I had no idea.
That was a motorcycle going down the road.
How appropriate. You know what? If it was a motorcycle, it might be worth leaving in because it fits.
Yeah.
Have fun editing this, Chris.
As I'd say, like, oh great, this thing actually is possessed. I was joking.
It's coming to get you. Anyway, so I just want to make a shout out to that. In fact, I found out this week to make the demise of Generation Kakaida even more tragic, because I thought they were, like they had just lost the license or whatever, and they were just going to shut down the online store, but keep their store in Hawaii open. It's like, no, they're a victim of COVID. They lost so much business because of COVID that they filed for bankruptcy and had to shut everything down, which just makes me even sadder.
It makes me sad too, but hopefully that might leave the door for somebody like Shout to come in and pick up where they left off, or maybe even buy what they originally had.
Yeah, I would love to see them release V3. I don't know if they. I would love for them to carry over the special features, but I don't know if they would do that. And there were 4 shows that they could pick up, because they had V3, they had Nazuman, and they had both of the live action Kakaidas. So Kakaida 0, and they put out the Kakaida reboot movie. So that's a lot of stuff they could try to pick up, but so tragic, like I said. So a lot of this information is coming from those discs. And one of the things I learned about was about one of the, I just want to give a shout out right now to producer Seiji Abe, who was, I read on that set, was another powerhouse producer over at Toei. Big reason for why Toei and their tokusatsu became what they were. And we had talked about the other producer in a previous episode, so I wanted to mention him again. And then another guy I wanted to give a shout out that I read about on that set was Koji Oda, who was the director of lighting. And if you've heard the Henshin Men episodes, and we've talked about it a bit in some of our past episodes, about how wild the lighting is in the show and in the original Kamen Rider. So that must have been his doing. So, like I said, wanted to mention that. So some little factoids I found out about some of our guest stars in these episodes. So Keiko Yamada, who later changed her name to her stage name, I should say, to Maki Katsuragi. She played the sister of Propeller Beetle, get used to these crazy names, in episode 23. And she later joined the cast of Ultraman Leo as Gen Otori's girlfriend. So you'll notice there's going to be a lot of Ultraman connections in these episodes. Because here's another one. Said brother in that episode was played by Katsumi Nakayama, who was Tax chief scientist Yoichi Kaji in Ultraman Ace. So we have a brother and sister in an episode who have Ultraman connections. It's fun. And then Minoru Takashima, who played the older brother in... Oh, that's another thing you'll notice in this. We got a lot of older siblings. In episode 25, was also played Shosaku Takasugi, a.k.a. the Corn Cob Hippie in Godzilla vs. Gigan. So, I know I asked this in the previous recording, but have you guys seen Godzilla vs. Gigan?
It's been a long time.
I've not seen that one yet, but it is my son's favorite.
Well, when you watch it, it will be very easy to spot Corn Cob Hippie. And and now that I know it's there, I want to watch Godzilla vs. Gigan. Good thing that's coming up pretty soon on the Film Vault, because now you'll be able to be like, hey, look, it's a kaijin from Kamen Rider V3. Just to confuse your son. It's like, wait, where's V3? He needs to punch him in the face. He's a bad guy, right?
Or punch at him and wildly miss and still get it sold.
Also, the shot of the boat sinking in episode 19 is stock footage from Johnny Sacco and his flying robot, which might explain a few things about that shot because I wasn't too impressed with it. Also, V3 suit actor Tetsuya Nakayashiki appears in episode 21 as the Destron Contact. So that's what he actually looks like. In true tokusatsu tradition, the suit actors get a face roll cameo, and that was his. No! Don't mess with me, Chris. Stop it. I will murder you 3 ways from Sunday.
Oh, good grief.
Is that a jet? What the frick? 2 of my books just fell off my shelf because I'm pounding my desk.
Oh.
What? No! Wait.
No, we're good.
Chris? Are we good?
All right, we're good.
We're good?
We're good. You guys froze on me for a second, but...
Okay. We're moving on. All right? Okay.
Enough of the shenanigans.
Enough with the shenanigans. Stop screwing with me.
Oh.
Okay. Because I was a little scared because like, why is nobody reacting to my factoids?
Well, you were frozen for a second, and then if you shenan once, you shall shenan again.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Anyway, I have no idea how much of this you're gonna keep. You might want to consider cutting most of this. All right. Okay. All right. I forgot to hit this button for when we moved on to the the background section. I can't even do this anymore. We have tried so many times to get this recorded for you. I hope you appreciate it. So, good grief. All right, let's move on to the actual episode discussions. Hopefully. Okay. So, first up, we have episode 19, Blowfish Apache's Operation Torpedo. I want to know why it's Blowfish Apache, because it goes against the naming convention that they've been using for the kaijin so far.
Yeah, it was weird.
It was weird. Also, later on, there are several who are named after stuff they don't look anything like.
Yeah, which we'll get into. Unless, I don't know, did they think an Apache as a tomahawk or something? I forget. Whatever. He's not a helicopter because he uses torpedoes and not missiles.
Unless it's a translation error, it's supposed to be a missile because it looks like a missile, not necessarily. I mean, a torpedo is just an underwater missile.
Yeah. Anyway, this episode aired June 23rd, 1973. Isn't that today? Is that today? No, that's next week. No, it's 2 days from now. Anyway. Whatever.
Nathan has been drinking, people.
I was going to say we're almost punch drunk at this point. Anyway, written by Mari Takizawa, directed by Masahiro Sukada. Our synopsis, which as usual is courtesy of the Generation Kakaida DVD sets. Buy them if you can. Goes like this. Shiro Kazami rushes to Tatsunoko Point. I hear there's a lot of good anime there, where Destron has been sinking passing ships in a bid to seize control of the seas.
Of course!
After encountering Blowfish Apache's torpedoes, Shiro discovers slaves working in a secret weapons factory. With the help of Tobei Tachibana, Shiro is able to penetrate the Destron outpost, but they are led into a deadly trap. It's a trap! And sink to the bottom of the sea. Can V3 save Tachibana and stop Destron? You know how this disc telegraphs whether or not we're getting a two-parter or not? it ends on a question, which is how you know it's just going to be a one and done. Anyway, let's get started.
Henshin.
So, my first weird note for this episode is Blowfish Apache pregnant with torpedoes?
I think so.
I want to say yes.
He has explosive babies, apparently, because they pop out of his stomach. He's a weird kaijin. He is a really weird kaijin. Also, casual boat destruction. Because our common Kenny and his dad don't seem too bothered by exploding boats.
Yeah. Also, I noticed that Blowfish Apache seemed to skip leg day.
You know, he looks really cool until you get below the waist, and then he looks really disappointing. It's just black spandex under there.
Yeah, he was probably the worst looking of the kaijin from this string of episodes that we watched.
Probably. He looks really cool.
Yeah.
He looks really cool on the top. Also, we found out that there's a Destron island. Alrighty, because of course there is.
Yes, because they are ripping off the Monster Island.
Nah, not really. Yeah, everyone has secret evil islands or whatever. But you know what else we get in this? Bikini girls.
Ooh la la.
Yes, yes, very ooh la la.
This is our fan service for the episode, apparently, and it's not our main cast members. It's not Junko or anything like that. It's some guest stars.
No, just two random models you meet by them crawling out of the water uphill.
Yep. Yeah. Because, but we also find out that V3 has a disadvantage in water, which is why he's running closer to it. Because of course.
Yes.
I thought he was swimming away from it.
Swimming away?
He keeps diving into water in every single fight after they said that water is one of his weaknesses.
And sand. Don't forget about sand.
Sand, water, yeah, he's always on the beach near the water, and he always runs away from the monster towards a cliff so they just could go whoo and knock him off.
Yeah, something like that. Also, we discover he has a red bone power, which apparently the red thing on his chest is a bone. And I'm not sure what it does, but it seems to make him teleport.
Well, according to the quote, it gives him immense destructive power.
Oh. Oh my gosh, we finished an episode without shenanigans. Immense destructive power, but again, it's kind of unclear, which is unlike the previous ones where they actually state what they do, and we're going to get some more in this.
The submersible blew up, so I guess he just jumped. He Hulk smashed his way out of it or something. I don't know. It's
really weird. The end of this is kind of weird. All right, and before more shenanigans start happening, because I had my laptop was yelling at me for a second there.
You said we made it through an episode with no shenanigans,
and then after it was done, my computer was like shenanigans. Anyway, I would like to point out, and this is going to happen. I can't remember if it was just in this episode or if it comes back later, but V3 crew, I would like you to know, shaky cam is not your friend.
No. Absolutely not.
It comes back.
It does. I'm going to say, this is some of the... If people think the shaky cam in the Bourne movies is bad, oh, you don't know. You don't know. There are episodes of this show that will make you reconsider the quality of the shaky cam. I'm just saying. All right. Let's move on to episode 20 before I get more punch drunk. All right. So... just realized there's something I forgot to do, which is give the Japanese name for the episode 19, which is Harufugu Apachi no Gyorai Sakusen. There you go. All right, so we're moving on to episode 20. Operation Destron Shikoku Conquest, or in Japanese, Destron Shikoku Senryo Sakusen. This originally aired on June 30th, the day after my birthday, 1973. It was written by Masaru Agami, directed by Minoru Yamada. All right, Mr. Jake, you're the only one I trust to read this.
I'm sorry. Destron uses the SS device flown in from their South American base in an attempt to conquer the island of Shikoku.
Of course!
Fukazawa, a scientist forced to work for Destron, manages to escape with a schematic. When Shiro Kazami receives word, he heads immediately for Shikoku via ship, but is attacked by a guillotine Saurus. Can V3 break through and save Shikoku from Destron's grip?
Henshin!
Okay, so I gotta admit, I'm a fan of Guillotine Saurus.
Yes, Guillotine Saurus is the best name ever, and he was a great kaijin. And
wow, Guillotine Saurus has got a fanboy here. Jeez.
Yes, he's got a guillotine for a hand, and he breathes fire.
Well, it's
Very
every
cool.
Every kaijin breathes fire. Come on, this is 70s tokusatsu. Everybody breathes fire. It's just what you do. But but
he has a guillotine for a hand, and he's.
This is true. But we have the SS device, and this just shows you where my mind is, I guess. When you say SS, I immediately think Nazis.
That's what I thought.
That's what because Shocker was apparently founded by leftover Nazis, according to expanded Kamen Rider lore. But no, it means super sleep. We find out later. Which actually, this is kind of a devious device because basically the whole premise is that they use it and everybody falls asleep and then they go do horrible things.
I wish I had that device.
He's going to use it on the kids every night.
I'm going to use it on me. I need some sleep.
Yes, but you're forgetting the part where you're going to do horrible things after, so it wouldn't be a very restful sleep.
Yeah. This begs
True.
the question, though. Can you beat the SS device with enough caffeine?
I got a whole box of C4.
Wait, the energy drink or the actual explosive?
Yes.
The energy drink.
Yes, let's not admit the crimes on the air.
But we also find out that the Kamen Kenny Force, good lord, they have quite the infrastructure.
And apparently Tachibana has recruited every single kid in the nation, and the relatives are in on it.
Yeah, now these seem to be. In the previous episodes, they were doing it secretly.
Yeah.
Nothing secret anymore except V3's identity, even to Destron, it seems.
Yeah, you would think they would be taking advantage of that a little bit more.
Right.
I'm just saying, there's some amazing infrastructure here. But let me see. Is anyone else on the ship that they're on? Because it's a passenger liner, and it looks remarkably empty, aside from our characters.
They evacuated in 5 seconds in between. I don't know.
Maybe. We also find out that and this is going to factor in more with the next episode, we have what's the control virus. And all I kept thinking is this the Purple Man? Is that what this is? We also have what I call the Fedora Squad instead of the Fishnet Squad in this. Unfortunately, they don't, much like the Fishnet Squad, they don't come back. And another giveaway that this is a two-parter is we have two kaijin. Oh, and V3 has a Bluetooth in his helmet, because of course he does. All right. Anything else on that episode before we move on?
No, I don't have anything.
Okay.
No.
While the internet still sort of likes us, or at least StreamYard.
Stop jinxing it. Stop.
I will continue to tempt it. Okay. We get to an episode that seems like it's going to be quite the banger on the surface, and, well, we'll get into it. But next up, we have episode 21, The Double Rider's Return, or in Japanese, Ite Tekarita Daboru Raida. Ike Teta Daboru Raida. Originally aired July 7th, 1973. It was written by Masaru Agami, directed by Minoru Yamada. Go for it, Chris.
V3 is saved by the voices of the Double Riders coming from his special medallion. In Shikaku, Shiro Kazami disguises himself as a Destron sympathizer to repair the SS device. Meanwhile, Fukuzawa, Tobei Tachibana, and Junko Tama fall under the control of Syringe Spider. Can V3 stop Dr. Guy's conquest plans and find the antidote to save his friends from the clutches of Destron?
Henshin!
Spoiler, of course he does.
Yes, of course, because even though he apparently has lost all the intelligence he displayed earlier, he still manages to pull everything off.
Of course he does. So I was a little excited by the title and the preview for this episode because it sounded like we were being promised the Double Riders. They get 2 glorified cameos.
Well, it promises that they're alive.
Right.
And then they proceed to tell him the exact same thing they told him before when he still thought they were dead afterwards, but this time I guess he believes them.
Yeah, apparently. I guess he forgot.
You have to contact me twice from the dead before I believe you.
Apparently, that's just how it works. I mean, I've heard that story in the Bible about, going to Abraham's bosom and how nobody will believe somebody even if they come back from the dead. I guess that's what this is.
Apparently so.
Apparently so. So we do get a little bit of a cameo, and we also get another one of the, 28? Is it 28? 26? Whatever, however many secrets that V3 has. Yeah, he has
it's 26.
26,
yes.
Yeah, but it's a cellular strength device, which apparently makes him really hard. Of course you guys would go there.
Oh, you should. I'm going to save it for the awards.
We're saving for the awards. But we also get to see, there's a lot of the Kamen Kenny Force in this stretch of episodes. We also find out that they do military marches.
Yes, because
child soldiers.
Because Hail Tachibana.
Hail Tachibana, yeah. Also, Shiro just comes out and says, "Ha, I am immune to narcotics." Okay.
Yes, which Syringe Spider forgets 3 seconds later, and then he reminds him, it's like, see, I am immune to narcotics, because he acted like he was it, then he showed him that he was, and it was pointless.
Yeah. Well, you know what else was kind of... You know what else was cool but kind of pointless? Shiro joins the Japanese Michael Jackson Smooth Criminal lookalike club.
Yes.
I thought he looked good.
He did. That was It was snazzy.
Yeah.
He's a very good actor.
Yeah.
And is it just me, do the white goons look like putties?
Kinda, but they're supposed to be scientists and doctors. They did that in the original show.
Yeah. But from the back, like they did a shot from the back.
Hold on. Wait. Back up. Ultraman was flying away. What were you saying?
I said from the back, you just see the stripes over the shoulders and the grayish white, and I'm like, that looks like a putty.
I can see that. And we didn't talk much about the kaijin in this one. I don't know how to feel about Syringe Spider, but
Syringe Spider could take that needle and shove it. for one.
Of course.
And guillotine.
That's what he was trying to do.
I was gonna say, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
And
And you want
or
do you want Syringe Spider to shove it up Streamyard? I'm just
yes, shove it up Streamyard, Strange Spider.
Yeah,
But-
there you go.
And a guillotine sword still remained the MVP of the show.
He's pretty good. He's pretty good. Now, Chris, I'm a little disappointed. There was something that I would have expected you to reference. I referenced from this episode. I referenced it in my notes, but you didn't bring it up. Destron invented the hyperbolic chamber.
Oh, let me look at my notes because that was there's another Dragon Ball reference. Oh, no, it's not the hyperbolic time chamber, but apparently Dr. Briefs worked for Destron because he created the exact same thing for Vegeta and Goku to train in.
I was going to say, because they have a chamber that does nothing but alter gravity. And I'm like, if you guys have gravity altering technology, you suck at taking over the world. I'm just saying.
Exactly.
Because if you could do that, this should be easy.
Exactly. And also, you would be, unless you're saying you'd be fighting than a pancake.
Of course. But, V3 is a Kamen Rider, so of course he's going to be fine. All right, on to episode 22, Camp of Terror. I'm sure we all went to some summer camps like that, just saying. Mystery of the Underground Canal, or in Japanese, Kyofu no Kyampu, Chite Unga no Nazo. This originally aired July 14th, 1973. It was written by Masayuki Shimada and Masahiro Sukada. It was directed by Masahiro Sukada. Our synopsis goes like this. The Rider Scouts, or the Common Canny Force, are at training camp at Hatsushima Island, where mutant spear gun sea lion has established an undersea outpost to manufacture poison gas. That's a little bit of a theme in this stretch of episodes. Destron plans to transport the chemical weapon via an underground canal to Mount Fuji, as you do, where the winds will spread the gas over hundreds of miles. Shiro Kazami orders the scouts to evacuate, but they refuse when they realize one of them is missing. Can V3 stop Destron in time?
Henshin!
So, the Kamen Canny Force has a boot camp.
Yes, they have a boot camp, and their numbers are disturbing.
I would have loved to have joined them when I was a kid.
Oh, I'm sure you would have.
Yeah.
I don't know if mom and dad would have appreciated it, but
Apparently, every parent and brother is very happy for their child to be a Rider Scout, even though nobody knows about the Rider. Even though the Rider has merchandise.
in-universe, yeah, he does have in-universe merch.
And
But
even though they all know about Shocker still, but don't believe in Destron.
Yep.
But some of them do.
It's weird. It is really weird. Can you imagine the kids who keep the, because we know from previous episodes that there are kids who keep this secret. Can you imagine them trying to explain to mom and dad, like, hey, mom, dad, I'm going to be gone for a week. Where are you going? Summer camp? Oh, why didn't we hear about it? Don't worry about it, mom. Mom and dad. and then they come back and the kids are suddenly like, after a week, they come back and they're jacked and they know how to kill you 3 ways from Sunday.
I have a question. Did the actor for Junko's brother, Shigeru, change? Because I thought he went from being a little kid to being Big Show.
Well, it's the Big Show. I don't know. We also find out that the end theme, once again, we find out it exists in universe because the kids, this is funny. Like Tachibana is just being, just grilling them on stuff like a drill sergeant. But then the girls are like, hey, if you do all of this, we're going to have a fun campfire. and then they sing the song, the end theme.
Except for the sister who is really mean to her brother, who basically says, you're the only one who can't keep up, you're embarrassing me.
She calls him a wuss, too.
Yeah,
Yes.
his sister is mean.
Yes.
And
Talk
then he
about
wouldn't jump-
emasculating. Jeez.
And
But
then he wouldn't
she's-
jump in the pool, so Tachibana throws him in. I love that part.
We also find out
Apparently
that
they have no chill about.
we also find out again that V3 can karate chop rope and it will just snap. Anti-rope karate chop.
That is good to know.
Yeah. Yeah, very good to know. And in true Kamen Rider fashion, the final fight in this changes locations constantly. It's supposed to be that they're just jumping around all the time, but it's weird how much they change locations. Also, we did have, I put down that we had a water minefield, which is kind of interesting. And in a special effect shot where V3 is supposed to be swimming underwater, it looks like a Bandai figure.
Yeah.
Hey, can we also bring up that spear gun sea lion looks nothing like a sea lion?
You got him on a technicality. The kaijin doesn't look like a sea lion. 1 star. Oh my word! Oh my word! I think there was a line
between a fangfish and a walrus.
Well, you want me to call up Toei so you can tell them about this? Well, sirs, spear gun sea lion does not look like a sea lion. And they're going like, why do you care?
I don't know.
You say, because I'm a podcaster and StreamYard hates me. I need to take it out on somebody. Anyway.
Yes.
On to episode.
TsuBro wouldn't make mistakes like this.
Anyway, on to episode 23. And since this was, Camp of Terror, now we come to Terror! Vampire from the Graveyard!
Rise from your grave.
This is the first time we start getting into all that sort of stuff. In Japanese, this is Kaiki! Gokiburi Yashaiki! Or Yashiki! This originally aired July 21st, 1973. It was written by Ikuro Suzuki, directed by Minoru Yamada. Take it away, Metal Don.
Propeller Beetle begins kidnapping young people. The males are reconstructed into Destron soldiers, while the blood of the female satisfies his energy source. When the monster hears the voice of the sisters of Shiro Kazami's friend, Kusuke Kurata, he retreats. When she discovers that her brother is really Propeller Beetle, Dr. Gay orders the mutant to drink her blood. Kazami enters the Destron outpost when Junko is captured. Can V3 save them?
Henshin!
So, this week on Kamen Rider, pseudo-vampires.
Yes, and this is actually where the episodes start to improve.
Oh, okay. I do love Propeller Beetle. The vampire thing doesn't make a lot of sense because the blood he drinks looks like Kool-Aid, so he's literally drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Well, he looks like Shredder got bit by a vampire.
Yes, he does.
He does.
But I love the suit that they use for him. It's good quality, and it's starting to show kind of how chippy put together B3 suit is, especially when you can still see his neck.
Yeah, that is a little weird. You would have thought. I think you would have thought that they would have put a turtleneck in there to hide that. I've been noticing that the last few episodes.
It kind of, it kind of looks like they put all the work into recreating his body. And then when they made this suit, they just like stapled some armor to some pajamas and threw on a motorcycle. I was like, oh.
I want to know, aside from the fact that it is super evil, why he specifically must drink women's blood. These are the questions I ask.
Because they're turning the men into soldiers.
Well, yeah. I guess that. So what you're telling?
They forgot that later.
Okay, so what you're
so now the pervert.
So what you're telling me is Destron is sexist.
Yes. Yes.
Well, are they sexist or did they toward men or women? Because they say like, oh, dudes, your blood isn't good enough for us. No, you just get to be goons, but the ladies,
They taste better.
they taste better.
I concur with this statement.
Oh.
Dr. Gay says otherwise.
Yes, and the cancellation just keeps rolling in.
Oh my gosh!
Well,
Yeah, look at us! Look at us! We have we've turned into Beavis and Butthead over here.
I am Cornelio.
Dr. Gay.
I need to deep in my bunghole.
Also, we get some random lore in here. Apparently, delta rays can paralyze cyborgs. Okay, I have no idea what delta rays are, but they're bad for cyborgs. Also, we're calling kaijin cyborgs again when we were calling them mutants for the longest time.
Yes, the mutant cyborgs.
I guess. So,
Go away, Ultraman.
he's just like, I can't handle this anymore. I'm done. I'm done.
I do want to mention I really enjoyed the dynamic with the Kuroda family, and I thought both of those actors did a really good job.
Yeah.
With those roles.
Yeah, I was surprised that because they've done this before in the previous show, the original show, where someone knows the person who gets turned into the kaijin of the week, and there was at least some weight given to that and trying to see if they could try to save him. That no one cares in this. They're just like, I'm sorry, we had to. Nothing we could do about it. Like, well, thanks, Tachi.
And it was his friend, and he didn't bat an eye. Like, you're dead.
It was like, you're a kaijin. Sorry. Nothing
I'm
we
like,
can do,
so Hongo and Hayato need to take notes. Being Shiro's friend means nothing. If he was going to kill you,
So I guess that means just going forward, guys. If any of us ever get turned into evil kaijin, just blow us up. I'm just saying,
Oh, yeah.
Don't bother trying to save. Don't bother trying to save us now. Let's just blow us up.
But I felt like this was a turn back towards like what the first few episodes were. Whenever they felt more connected, and whenever Dr. Guy first showed up, I felt like there was a serious drop in quality because it started to feel a little bit more repetitive, more episodic. The threat level seemed to diminish, but it feels like now it's starting to pick back up, and like they're actually building towards something. It's almost if this was anime, I would say we just went through a mediocre filler arc, and now we're getting into a main arc again.
Okay, that's an interesting way to put it. Also, to add this to the list of nonchalant reactions to horrible things, apparently a human skeleton is just a funny Jack in the Box. Shiro,
yes,
Shiro, you worry me. I'm just saying
that was in contention for best line.
Was it?
Yes, because I love the nonchalant. Like that's an interesting Jack in the Box.
Yeah,
and Tachibana's just like, you sick bastard.
Yeah, basically. Also, I just realized I gave the Japanese title for the next episode. My apologies for anybody who knows Japanese, but the Japanese title for this was Kaiki Hakabe Kara Kita Kyoketsu Otako. All right, and then the one I gave for the episode I just did is the Japanese title for our next episode, which is Mysterious Cockroach Manor. And that's two separate sentences. Yeah. It's mysterious. Cockroach Manor. Okay. This originally aired. We're off our game tonight, guys. I am so sorry. At the start of our attempts at trying to record all night have just been very frustrating. All right, so this originally aired July 28th, 1973. We just lost half our people who listened to us the first few episodes are like, and you lost me.
Oh no, they love train wrecks, man. This is gonna increase our
this is one of
listenership.
This is one of the worst nights of podcasting I've ever had. This was written by Mari Takizawa, directed by Minoru Yamada. Go for it, Chris.
In order to wage germ warfare on Japan, Destron takes over the Asada Biological Institute and tortures the head scientist to pillage his research. Meanwhile, Rider Scout Yoshio notices that young women go into the institute but don't come out. So he snoops around to check things out, but is captured by Cockroach Spike. Junko goes in to rescue him as a housekeeper, but is also caught spying. Can V3 thwart Destron's plot? No, but Junko sure did.
Let this be a lesson to everybody. It's not good to be a woman and be near Destron.
No. And when the sign says, we would prefer live-ins with no known relatives, don't apply to the job.
That was so funny. It's like, no one ever stopped and thought, maybe this isn't a good idea. Do you live alone? Do you live alone? Yes. Do you have any family? No. You're hired because no one will miss you.
Yes. Yes. Junko's interview. How old are you? 18. She's hired.
Well, she knew what she was getting into when she did it. So
no, she knew something was up, and he just wanted to make sure she was 18. What kind of couch am I sitting on?
It's a casting couch. Oh, too soon.
Nice.
Let's be honest. Weinstein was probably a member of Destron. I'm just saying.
Probably.
Weinstein is Destron leader.
I've heard worse theories. Anyway, I love how we have a common Kenny, one of the common Kenny force. He's trying to tell his wife, Mom, I see women go into that building and they never come out. And Mom just says, oh, you read too many comic books. Why is it always too many comic books? Maybe the comic books have been warning you, Mom, and you don't read them.
And I am going to say this. Now, I know children have a lot of imaginations to make stuff up, but they also take in everything around them. So when they say people keep going in there and not coming out, you might want to listen.
Exactly.
And this was an observation that I made with this. So the main thing that the Common Kenny Force are doing in this, the Rider Scouts, is they're reporting strange happenings. And if that was their primary role in this show, is they were basically like a network of eyes, so they can call up and say, hey, I'm seeing weird things happening over here. I think it would be more willing to accept that. But when they start doing things like getting involved with fighting the bad guys, it starts straining credibility a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I really like the suit for Cockroach Spike, but I hate cockroaches. My skin was crawling this whole episode.
Yeah, but is it just me, or did they recycle TV Fly for this? Oh, no. I'm thinking of a later episode. Never mind.
Yeah, you're thinking of Heater Cicada.
Heater Cicada, but yeah. Also, I want to give a little shout out to the creepy old lady in this episode. Good Lord.
Yes.
See, she's so scary, Ultraman ran away.
She was so scary.
Yes, was.
Yes, until V3 put a hole through her chest. and she was not a kaijin. She just tried to set Junko on fire. And you don't do that, apparently.
No.
You say that so casually. She's just like... Can you imagine? She's like, what's your problem, V3? I just wanted to set her on fire.
My girl's hot enough.
I agree.
Oh my gosh. That's just so funny to me. It's like, I just wanted to set her on fire. Oh,
yes. And I just want to punch your heart out.
This is what you get.
Yes. And only one of us is going to succeed in their goal.
Okay. And then on to episode 25, which is not part of a two-parter, despite it also starting with Mysterious. Come on, guys. So we have Mysterious, the Destron Rider Corps. Go, Destron Rangers.
Yes.
We have title.
Mighty Morphin
Anyway.
Destron Rangers. Yes. We have title.
We have title. All right, in Japanese. Good Lord. In Japanese, it's Kaiki Destron Ranger Butai. This originally aired August 4th, 1973. It was written by Masaru Agami and was directed by Masahiro Sukada. Go for it, Metal Don.
Rumors circulate of savage ape men in the Omni Mountains, but this is a cover for training Destron Ranger squad units. In order to keep this secret, Mantis Marang kills everyone who approaches the area. V3 saves Rider Scouts Kenji and his older brother from certain death, but the Destron Rangers soon surround them. Meanwhile, the second unit of the Destron Rangers start tainting Tokyo's water supply with the deadly mummification virus.
Henshin!
Mantis Meringue might be my favorite kaijin on this show so far. I said
Mantis Meringue was effective. There were beheadings.
Yeah, for sure. And, he has his blades are his claws, which I thought his boomerangs are his claws, which I thought was kind of clever. Also, he technically has two heads. This design is wild. He has two heads and they're fused together. It's like his heads are Siamese twins. It is really weird.
It looks really cool.
It does, but I'm still sitting here thinking, which head is talking to me? Like, if I was V3, I'd be like, which head's talking to me? I can't tell.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the V3 kaijus have progressively, especially over these last few episodes, progressively getting better and better and better, and it peaks, I think, with Mantis Meringue.
Mm-hmm.
I love the idea, I've always been a sucker for the deadly boomerang, and he was a sniper with it, boy, and poor Kudo.
Also, I would just like to say, decapitation again. Actually, we get two. We get two in this episode, but they cut away from the other one, so we don't see it. And then we get an awful composite shot for the second one.
Yes.
I know it's supposed
to
be.
For the children.
For the children. I know it's supposed to be horrifying, but the composite shot is so bad. I'm like, I'm sorry, guys. It looks like they took a photograph of that actor's head and then just superimposed it onto the shot.
Well, they probably did, and they had a little budget. The only other option was to actually chop off his head.
I would have settled for a dummy head. It couldn't have been that hard. Come on. Also, we find out that Destron... By the way, the Destron Rangers look like dorks running around at the beginning of this episode. And then we also find out they have the unfortunate weakness of just not liking certain noises. And if you get this little tube thing and you spin it around, it makes this whistle sound that they really don't like. And I'm sitting here thinking, I had something like that as a kid, actually.
Which also makes me think V3 likes to hang out with Dulcia. Which is probably why he's not into Junko. Remember she had the whistling sticks?
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, wait a minute, where are we going with this?
The whistling sticks, and all of a sudden
I get it. Okay. So were you sitting there hoping that Junko would find the sticks and a bikini?
That would be nice.
That would be nice. Indeed.
I mean, that DVD set literally includes her measurements. I couldn't believe that was in there. It's like, what are you guys
doing? In case you want to recreate it.
In case you were wondering. It's like, I can understand why they would have it on file, but why are we putting it in this DVD set? It's so bizarre. Guys. Okay. But overall, I think that one was actually, that one was pretty good. I would say, my jokes about it aside, I did think that was actually really good, I thought.
Yeah, that was a really good episode. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was hoping V3 would kill Mantis Meringue with his own boomerang just for the irony.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That would have been better.
But
Yeah,
it would have, but I really enjoyed the effects for the mummification virus. I thought it was sufficiently creepy.
Yeah. We get into a little bit more of that actually in the next episode. I would also like to tell everybody that it was at this point that I started not being able to tell Dr. G and the leaders' voices apart anymore. I would hear them talking. It's like, oh, is that the leader? No, that's Dr. G. Oh, okay.
Or Dr. Gay, or however they want to say it.
However you're supposed to say it.
Dr. Gay.
I did.
He doesn't feel like a threat. I'm just like, and I don't know. Was the Shocker leader this tolerant of failure in the first season?
Yes.
Okay, then. Well,
nothing's really changed. I will say this before we go on to the next one. This episode does have a really good cliffhanger. I wanted to make sure I brought that up.
Yes.
Where the Junko, and they build up to it, where Junko gets some water out of the faucet, because we now know that the tap water is now contaminated, and the virus works basically instantly. And she sits down, pours some water, and they're lingering on this, and then she starts bringing the cup to her mouth to drink it, and then the episode ends.
They're going to tease killing Junko, and we would riot.
Yes, of course we would.
Mm-hmm.
Of course we would. So, time to move on to episode 26, which is called... Trying to get the Japanese title ready here for reading purposes. We'll do it live. I should really put the Japanese titles in before we get started, but we've had a heck of a night, people. All right. So, episode 26, Mutant Heater Cicadas Operation Mummy, or in Japanese, Kaijin Hita Zemi no Mira Sakusen. Originally aired August 11th, 1973. It was written by Masaru Agami and directed by Masahiro Tsukada. Our synopsis is, with the mummification virus in Tokyo's water supply, Destron plans to turn 10 million people into mummies using heater cicadas' chirp to drive victims to drink the tainted water. Shiro Kazami discovers that Professor Taguchi is the only person who can create an antidote and saves his daughter while trying to rescue Junko. But is the professor's daughter really who she says she is? Has Shiro fallen into a trap? It's a trap.
Henshin.
Okay, I read that synopsis before watching the episode, so I thought we were seriously going to get an army of mummies. That's not what happens.
Yeah.
People just die.
No.
Yeah.
Nope. I thought we were going to need Brendan Fraser, and it turns out not so much. But I have a question. How can a man's heart still be beating when he's not breathing?
I would have to do some medical research to find out.
Because I can understand it's like 2 or 3 minutes, but that man was missing for like half a day. And so he's not breathing, but his heart's still beating. No, it's not. You're a quack.
I do know the brain will still function for a little while after that, a couple of minutes, but because
the heart, your blood needs oxygen to keep pumping. This
is true. This is true. But we should talk about the resolution to the cliffhanger, which boils down to Shigeru startles his sister.
Yes.
And unknowingly saves her. As a good little brother
always does.
Yeah.
Yes, as a good little brother always does.
Yeah.
It's the exact same as Shiro's sister saving him from drinking the drink in the first episode.
This is true. And this was the kaijin I was referring to earlier. Heater Cicada looked familiar. That suit looked familiar. I was like, what is... I think it's TV Fly. I think they recycled the TV Fly head for this monster.
However, it looks... The way they did it, it looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But they can't recycle it for another monster.
Nope. No.
Because they did a really good job with the explosion this time.
Oh, yeah. We'll get to that with the awards. Also,
yes.
The goons in this, the Destron goons in this, good Lord, they all need to be fired. First off, They put Shiro in handcuffs when they should know better. Come on, he can break those pretty easy, and he does in the within a minute. Also, the only reason that our heroes figure out what they're doing is because they're horrible gossips. They flap their gums and give everything away. And I'm like, y'all are fired, okay? If I was Shocker Leader, y'all are fired, and it's probably going to be literal. There will be flamethrowers involved.
Yes. And because that Shiro just happened to know that the good doctor doesn't have a daughter.
There you go. Also, I would like to point out it was at this point where I realized Junko only exists to get kidnapped.
No, that's not true, because she's done her fair share of getting Shiro out of trouble, and she was the MVP of the episode in I think it wasn't Cockroach Manor, or was it was Cockroach Manor.
Because she was sneaking around in there, yeah. But she does but you gotta admit,
but there's a balance, because a lot of times she's actually the one who's actually solving the problems.
Yeah.
So she's not just getting kidnapped, but in her line of work, she's going to get kidnapped.
Yeah. I would.
Right.
She's less a Princess Peach and more like a Lois Lane, where she's getting kidnapped and getting in trouble because she's looking for trouble a lot of the time.
Yes, or because she doesn't know that Shiro is V3 and she's trying to save him.
Which
I don't understand how
we've already talked about that. It makes no sense. Also, I would like to say the car chase in this is amazing, and it's ruined by shaky cam.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, apparently we're going to be talking about that. All right. And now we get to our final episode for tonight. And boy howdy, this one was a banger. I expected it to be a banger, and it was a banger. Because some old friends came back.
Mm-hmm.
Some old friends came back. So, episode 27. I do have a little bit of a gripe with how the title of this episode is translated, but we'll get into that in a moment. Episode 27. Zol, Death, Hell, and Black.
Rise from your grave.
Or the grave here. In Japanese, this is Ikekata Zoru Shinigami Jigoku Buraku. Originally aired August 18th, 1973. It was written by Masaru Igami and directed by Minoru Yamada. Our synopsis goes like this. Rider Scout Shotaro, I'm pretty sure that was a reference, has discovered shocker mutants entombed in a lakeside cave. Oh no. When he arrives, the mutants are gone. And Shiro Kazami is ambushed by Destron's powerful, I hope I say this correctly, Quite Beetle? Quite. Does that look right to you, gentlemen? Quite. I had to look it up.
Yes. That's how it's spelled.
Yeah, it's a ring toss game, which makes sense. Destron plots to destroy the whole of Japan by resurrecting former Shocker commandants Colonel Zol, Dr. Death, Ambassador Hell, and General Black using toxic gas called Gerard Gamma, or Gerard Gamma, I think is how they actually said it in the episode. Suddenly, V3 is attacked by the revived Shocker mutants led by Quite Beetle.
Henshin!
All right, my gripe with this is I don't necessarily like the name Dr. Death. It sounds very generic. That's why I have been in the habit ever since he was on the original Kamen Rider and we were discussing it on Henshin Men. I call him Dr. Shinigami because that sounds cool.
And Dr. Shinigami is better because if you translate it properly, he would be Dr. Death God.
Or Dr. Reaper. I've seen that too. Because, if you watch Bleach, they call the characters in Bleach, they call them the Shinigami, which gets translated as Soul Reaper.
Also in Death Note, they have a Shinigami, and he is a god
but
of death.
That actually makes sense there.
Yeah. So, it would make sense here because given the way that he acts, he he was thinking of himself as a god of death.
Yeah, for sure. He dresses like Dracula. What do you expect? Played by the great Hideo Yamamoto, I would like to point out, who's been in a lot of things. He was in an episode of Ultra Q. He's been in some Ultraman episodes. I've seen him there. But he's next to being Dr. Shinigami on this show, he's best known for being Doctor Who on King Kong Escapes. Also wearing a cape with a big collar.
Yeah,
because of course
he apparently has a closet full of capes with big collars.
Apparently,
he's like Vincent Man in that regard.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Rider Scott Shotaro is named after Kamen Rider's creator, Shotaro Ishinomori. I have no way to confirm that, but considering how big, this is a multi-monster episode. This is a big episode.
Yes. And it ends on a heck of a cliffhanger because he's basically, Kamen Rider V3 is basically surrounded by 5 Commandants and 4 Shocker mutants and 1 Destron mutant.
Yeah.
Which, up till now, it's been assumed that Destron was just a continuation of Shocker, but now they're acting like Shocker and Gel Shocker are completely different.
I know. It's really strange. Jake, thoughts on the episode?
I like the dad who was throwing the rocks onto the Shocker mutant.
Yes. Yes.
That was
He's
hilarious.
like, no.
All of these characters exploded in the original show, and they all have sarcophaguses, and now we have off-screen resurrection technology as opposed to the pseudo-occultism that was used before to bring back dead kaijin. It's really bizarre. Destron and Shocker, y'all are weird. I just want to let you know.
Very much so. Very weird.
Just to go with it.
Yeah. But I did want to, this was something I was thinking about watching this. Can you imagine being a kid in Hawaii in the 1970s, and you're watching this show, and these are all villains from a previous show that you never saw, and everyone's acting like, oh my gosh, they're coming back. What is this? Oh my gosh, it's the Shocker guys. They're here again. And you're seeing them for the first time, and I'm just like, that would have been an experience, to say the least.
Yes, coming back from where?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
This whole show is a sequel, and it was, it was released on TV and on DVD before the original show saw the light of day in the United States. It's just, I don't know. It just would have been kind of strange, because some of that weight's lost if you don't know, I think.
Yeah. But they did do a good job of building the tension in this episode, and you do feel that V3 might actually be in trouble until you remember he has major plot armor.
Of course he does.
Yeah.
Is that one of his? Is that one of his 26 secrets? Plot armor. Huh!
That is the source of all 26 secrets.
Also, the bad guys really are taking advantage of their disguise abilities, which. That's been around since the original show, and I'm still confused about how it works, because it's like, does everybody just shapeshift? Because if you could all shapeshift, why haven't you taken over the world?
Of course!
Exactly. Of course.
Also, this was one of the points in the synopsis where a typo was very apparent, because they left out the O in Quit Beetle, so he became Quit Beetle. Guys, you should have had me copy edit your DVDs.
Yeah.
I know I was still in college at the time, but I'm just saying.
Quake Beetle actually just by himself a few times. I'm like, he actually made you feel like Cheryl was in real danger.
Yeah.
He's been pretty effective so far. So
yeah,
and I love his design too. Like I said, the Destron mutants have been getting better and better and better.
Yeah, it's interesting seeing Quake Beetle next to those original Shocker mutants, because they were from a point in the show where they were starting to get more elaborate with the costumes, but it was nothing compared to what they have in V3.
Like I said, the only real issue I'm seeing is as they're getting so much better with these suits, they've got to update V3 suit because he literally looks like he's wearing pajamas that has armor stapled to him.
He just won't let that go, Jake.
No, I won't.
I know.
He's got this gripe with Showa Rider designs. except for Black, I think he just doesn't like them.
Am I wrong,
I'm
Nate?
with you. I'm with you. I don't like them that much either.
Oh.
No, it's like all the money went towards making all these cool monsters. Like, oh wait, we got to make a Rider 2. What's in the bag?
Yeah. Exactly.
So what you're telling me is that if they were making V3 with as low a comparatively a lower budget now, he would literally be running around in Crocs.
Yes. Yes.
The ugliest footwear ever invented by man, aside from bowling shoes. Yes, that's my hot take for the episode.
Yes. And Crocs were the shoes that were everybody wore in the Idiocracy.
You're right.
Because the fashion designer, she went and found, her goal was to go and find something that nobody would actually want to wear. And she found it like, and the director's like, why did these become popular? It's like, there's no way. No.
Yes, there is. Yes.
And we are now in the Idiocracy and everybody's wearing those stupid things.
Oh, good Lord. Oh, Godzilla, help us. Oh, Godzilla, help us. Kind of like this entire night trying to record. So let's start wrapping things up before we jinx it.
And no, people, we're not in the Rant Master yet.
I was going to get to that, but you had to interrupt the bumper. Yeah, we're going to leave that in. All right. So, yes, we have now come to is it Rant Master? Yes, it's Rant Master. And yeah, that's what we're on to now. So, does anyone here need a Rant Master?
Yes.
Jake?
I don't.
So, none for Jake, one for you. I don't feel like I need one this week. So, are you ready, sir?
Yes.
Your 3 minutes begins now.
Rantmaster activated.
What is it with Kamen Rider and editing? Why are you picking the worst shots to show the fact that he is not hitting the monsters?
Yes.
He's whipping so bad and then they're selling so hard. I swear I think I'm watching AEW. He's missing by a mile and they fly. I'm like, is there enough wind power from his punch that you're flying? He missed. Learn to edit so that you can't see him missing.
Is it editing or shooting? Like, do they need to shoot it better?
Okay, I'm sure they've shot plenty of shots for that. There's probably multiple camera angles, and they're choosing the worst ones. Also, whoever's choreographing the fight, please stop with the 3 punches to the face every 35 seconds. Dear God, I've seen the same fight over and over and over. Every once in a while, he'll throw in a different throw. And I know the actor is capable of far more than what you're giving because he did some very impressive stunts. He's actually a good martial artist. Why are the fights so repetitive?
As they were still figuring it out, I think, at the time. Or they were putting a bunch of work into the stunt work, because the stunt work in this is nuts.
The stunt work is very good, but you could tell that they have not brought on Koichi Sakamoto or
you're not going to let that go, are you?
No, this is a show based around a superhero fighting, and you're messing up the fighting. And if your choreograph is that limited, you really need to make sure you're editing around it because you can't see him missing.
Is it because it's bad or because it was at a time? It was a different time.
No, because there's good action sequences back then. I mean, Ultraman had good action back during this time. It's a Toei thing.
It might be because they're working fast and on a low budget.
Yeah, it's a Toei thing. Like, I wasn't joking when I said TsuBro wouldn't let that happen.
Oh, But apparently AEW would. In AEW's defense, I've seen some WWE matches where people infamously oversold.
Oh, I know, but they're doing these wide shots, and all of a sudden he misses the punch, and then the guy goes flying over the rope. Anyway, I'm like, we saw him miss.
Yeah.
Don't commit to the spot.
Yeah, don't commit to the spot. You know what? I've changed my mind. I'm claiming one.
Rentmaster activated.
Because I realized I did bring this up. Shaky cam is not your friend.
No, it's not.
We had a couple of truly great action sequences in this batch of episodes, and they are ruined by shaky cam. The worst shaky cam I have seen in a long time.
I will never complain about Bourne again. My God.
About Bourne again. Huh? About Bourne again. You're not gonna complain about being regenerated by the Holy Spirit or about a classic Daredevil story? Is that how this works now? What? You're not gonna
I'm talking about Jason Bourne, but yes, I'm not complaining about those either.
I'm giving you a hard time, but it was just I could not believe that they decided to go with this, or that they would even attempt it. And I don't know if the equipment just wasn't at the point where this could be avoided. I like to think that it wasn't, because I know just a few years before this, now mind you, this was in Hollywood, you had the movie Bullet with Stephen McQueen, which was the first time that they could film what we would consider to be a modern car chase scene, because they figured out how to use the cameras in such a way that they could film it better. So it's a seminal movie in that regard. And I don't know if these filmmakers just didn't have the technology, or they didn't quite know how to do it, or if they just didn't have time to properly set up these cameras. But it is abundantly clear that they are driving down. The worst one is the car chase on the beach, which I could tell was an incredibly well done sequence, but they're clearly, the camera crew is on another car in front of them, and it's just shaking around all the time, because you can see every single bump there, and it's moving around so much you can barely see the awesome stunt work that is going on there. And that is the actor playing Shiro, because he's friends with Sonny Chiba, and he's doing his own stunts before Jackie Chan. It's ruined by the fact that you can't see it with all the shaking.
Absolutely. And it would have won an award for me if it wasn't for that shaky cam at the end, because you missed so much, and he was doing some fantastic stunts during that time.
I know that's the worst part. It hurts seeing that, and I'm really hoping that we don't get that, at least very much going forward, because it was kind of nauseating. And like you said, after watching it, I will never say a bad thing about it. I didn't really say anything bad about shaky cam in the Bourne movies, but I'm definitely not going to say it now, because I've witnessed this.
No.
Not my most epic rant master, but we all know what we really need is a rant master for Streamyard.
Yes.
I'm about ready to hit the button so we can all rant master about Streamyard tonight. But
if I start ranting about Streamyard, it will be a Michael Hamilton worthy cuss fest.
It's so many dragon daggers. All right, let's move on to something a lot more pleasant, shall we? The TSA, or Toku Sensei, announcement. So this is our thematic discussion. So I will hit the button, and we'll have a little talk about whatever themes that we noticed in this crop of episodes. Henshin. So I will start by saying the one that I noticed a lot in this is family. Because we have a lot of, especially siblings. We have a lot of siblings in this batch of episodes. I think there's at least 3 that are about sibling relationships.
Whether it's blood family or a earned family, I would say, because with the Rider Scouts, they're always looking out for each other. Mm-hmm. They're a team. I was thinking family, teamwork, at some point connection.
Yeah, connection as well.
And even in a weird way, there's even some of that on the Destron side because they've been reunited with some of their extended family with Shocker.
That is true. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, you're. I think you're onto something there. But I think the most potent example that we do see is in the pseudo vampire episode, which I think I said that was 25. Yeah, I think that was 25.
Yeah,
where the whole thing is about a concerned sister who's trying to save her brother because he's behaving strangely, and we find out that he's been made into a Destron kaijin and he's drinking blood, and he's been so corrupted by that. He even tells Destron, I'll drink my sister's blood if you want me to.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Dr. Guy really wanted to see, so that we found your kink, sir.
I don't know if I want to hit a button for that one or not, but I do think that, and I know this is going to sound weirdly cerebral for a quote unquote silly show like this, but that families are the benchmarks of society, and if you want to destroy society, you destroy family, and obviously our quintessentially evil villains would want to dismantle family if they could, and so we're seeing them destroy that here, and they basically succeed because V3 says, I had no choice, I had to destroy him.
Yeah,
Do what you gotta do.
No real. Yeah, with no. Every other time he's trying to find a cure, but for this guy, he's like, nope, you're dead.
Yeah, which is a little disappointing. I would have liked a little bit more effort to try to avoid killing him. But what can you do?
But he was also going to drink Junko's blood too. So
yeah, and even though they're going to pretend not to be shipped,
oh gosh, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, because the show wants to pretend that they're not together, or that they don't like each other now. Apparently.
No, they obviously, because if Junko's threatened, he will kill anybody. I mean, look at the two deaths. He killed the Omega because she's going to burn Junko. Then he killed his friend from school because he threatened Junko.
Yeah. I'm saying, guys. There are reasons why I ship them. All right.
Yes.
Let's start wrapping things up here. All right, first off, we got to do our final thoughts for this batch of episodes. So the 3 minutes for that begins now.
Henshin.
So I know you said that it there was a little bit of a downward trajectory and then it picked back up for you.
Yeah, it started out slow because it was coming off that arc that started towards the end of our last episode we talked about, and then all of a sudden it started building towards something, which it turned out to be the return of the Shocker generals, and they're building towards the return of the Double Riders. So as we're going through that arc, the quality kept going up and up, and I really enjoyed the way that the Rider Scouts were coming together as a family. With a lot of things that I've been going through lately, been able to connect with friends and stuff, and I've been pretty much having to rebuild my life, and making family has been a priority for me. So this one hit a little bit closer to home with the theme because it just really stood out to me because, like I said, of personal things I've been going through.
What about you, Metal Dom?
I really like the kaijin suits. I think they're all fairly good. You can see some things they could work on, mainly the legs.
Yeah,
but I do
for a couple of them, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I do like the Rider Scouts, how they're getting more people involved and doing training.
Yeah. I think that does lend a little bit more legitimacy to them because they're not just throwing these kids into danger. They're trying to prepare them for it. So I guess the Rider Scouts are basically Boy Scouts, but more dangerous.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and even though they are training them to do some combat, they're not going out picking fights. It's just that if they get caught, they're getting them enough training to get away,
For sure.
which I like. Yeah, so
Yeah. I expected this batch of episodes to have some bangers in it, and I do think we had some bangers in it, and some of them were kind of surprising as bangers.
Mhm.
The double rider thing didn't quite turn out how I thought it would, but at the same time, we had our final episode for this batch. It was pretty intense, bringing back all the old villains, and we got multiple monsters. I mean, it's just like, I think we had talked, you and I had talked about, when you were giving me feedback about some Power Trip episodes, about how the multi-monster episodes always ended up being the most popular ones because there's a lot more stuff going on in them.
yeah, and I forgot what I was going to say. Squish.
What you were going to say was shoe watch. There you go.
Yes, squish. Yeah.
All right. And with that, we will move on to the trademark awards. So we carried these over from Henshin Men and Power Trip, who totally didn't steal it from Monsters vs. Men. The shtick has been satisfied because that has to carry over too. And I'm at a point now where I'm just like, let's get this over with because it's been a heck of a night. So these are fun little awards we give out to stand out aspects of the episodes that we have been talking about. First up, we have the Koichi Sakamoto Award, speaking of Mr. Sakamoto, for the best stunt or fight scene. And for those who don't know, Koichi Sakamoto was a fight choreographer and director on many tokusatsu properties. He's basically worked on all of them, all the big franchises. He's worked on Sentai. He's worked on Ultraman. He's worked on Rider. He's even worked on Power Rangers. So he's got the whole thing covered. So my nominee for this Koichi Sakamoto Award tonight would be Shiro. We didn't talk about this, so this is my opportunity to talk about it. Shiro on top of the ski lift tram. Good freaking Lord. And that the DVDs confirm this. That is the Shiro actor doing that. And there's little to no safety precautions being taken, and it said that tram was slippery, so he was being incredibly daring doing that. Every time I see something like that, I am shocked how crazy they are willing to be on this.
That was incredibly impressive, and it was in my finalists as well. This guy is basically the Tom Cruise of Japan at this point because he's doing these insanely crazy stunts.
He was Jackie Chan before Jackie Chan. That's how nuts he is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a bunch of the stuff that I look at talking about him brings up the fact that he was friends with Sonny Chiba. I understand. The guy's crazy, absolutely crazy. Metal Don, what was your nominee?
I have the same as you. On top of the tram.
The top of the tram.
But there was also another one. I think it was episode 22 where he was on top of the building fighting with no wire.
Oh yeah,
that one was good too.
Yeah, it's like Chris had a little bit of a rant master about the fight choreography in this, but you can't say anything bad about the stunt work that is done in this, especially with how little safety precautions there are. Like, they're just doing their best not to do something wrong and screw it up. Like, there's little to no margin for error with what they're doing.
Right.
And they're doing stuff now that modern Toei would never let anybody do.
Yeah. They
would not let the star of the show be doing all of this crazy stunt work. I mean, that's how Hongo in the previous show got hurt. He's trying to do his own stunts.
The box that I had mostly issue is actually when he's V3. When it's Shiro outside the uniform fight, he's usually doing some really good fight scenes. But my actual winner for best stunt or fight scene goes to Shiro and Tachibana climbing along the cave wall. That was there was waves crashing against it, and they were out there without wire, and that was very impressive. That was probably as dangerous, even though it was not as high up. It's probably still as dangerous as being on that lift.
For sure. Next up, we have the Eiji Tsuburaya Award for the best special effects. Man needs no introduction. He was the creator of Ultraman and was the special effects director for most of the Showa Godzilla films. My nominee for this, and I think it's something you want to talk about, Chris, it's Heater Cicada's death. Because they blew up the suit. It's the only time they blow the suit up. At least in this batch of episodes. Actually, I think it's the first time we've seen the suit blow up so far in the show.
Yes, and it was definitely a escalation because usually you just see them fall and then there's an explosion afterwards. Like, no, this time he stood up. He's like, I'm dying, but I'm taking you with me. And then as he's firing, which he misses, he starts exploding and then finally blows up and you see him actually blow apart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For what I understand, this was something you would see a lot more in older tokusatsu shows. Not as much with Toei, but certainly with Tsuburaya. They would, they don't do it as much anymore because they want to save the suits for other purposes. Or sometimes it's just too expensive, especially since you probably are only going to get one or two shots at it because you only have so many suits.
Yeah,
there's an explosion like this where they blow up the suit at the end of Gamera the Brave, and for what I've heard, they had to do that in one take. They only had one suit they could blow up, and they got it.
There.
Yeah. So that's my nominee. Chris, was that yours as well?
Actually,
really?
Because I had a feeling I had a runner up because I think it was really inventive with how they did it, and it was a unique take on the bat that transforms into a vampire, and it was the propeller drone.
Okay. Yeah, because Destron invented drones.
Yes, and then whenever it would land, it would turn into propeller beetle, and I just thought that was a really cool. The prop itself was really good, really well done. You couldn't see through it. It looked like a spinning propeller coming at you, and then all of a sudden it transformed into a propeller beetle. I'm like, I thought that was fantastic. A propeller beetle was a fantastic suit of itself. So
I considered several of the Kaijin suits for best special effects.
Oh man, and I almost considered just going with the Kaijin suits overall for the winner because man, there's stuff that I see today that's not as good as what we were seeing in V3 these last few episodes.
Yeah.
And while you could tell they were getting more elaborate, they were using some more elaborate chakra suits. You could definitely tell that they're really getting their legs underneath them because the quality is so much better on Coit Beetle.
Yeah, Coit Beetle. Yeah. We have come a long way from Bee Woman.
Yes, we have. And the flying squirrel.
The squirrel was actually an improvement in terms of production values, because Bee Woman is literally a chick in ugly purple spandex with unfortunately placed bee cups and a lot of makeup. I'm just saying, it's pretty terrible. Metal Dawn. Jake, what was your winner?
I went basic.
You went what?
I said I went basic. I went episode 22 when Shiro's navigating through the water mine.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, yeah. That was some good stunt work too, along with with the mines, with the geysers coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I that's legitimate for me because that takes a lot of coordination and everything, and they couldn't have been easy to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have the Kyo Dialogue Award for the best line. Kyodai being the word for giant, as in Kyodai hero, so giant hero. Mine actually goes to Spear Gun Sea Lion, who had a nice variation on a villain phrase that's a little bit cliche, and if you can, as one of my professors said in grad school, you can polish up the cliche. You've done well. he says to his, I believe it is to Junko, at least Junko. I don't remember. It's everybody, all the other characters he captured. So he's talking to him and he says, "Have you said your prayers? You have 30 seconds left."
That was a good one.
That was a good one.
That was I try to go through each one and make on each episode make notes of possible lines, and that was one of the ones that came up as a possibility. Not my winner, but
yeah, there was some other ones I considered, like one of the I can't remember which of the I think one of the other kaijin said something. I just thought it was funny. It's like, no one sees Destron and lives. No one. I'm like, well, you done a lousy job at that. Just saying. But what was your winner, Sentai Guy?
it comes from Propeller Beetle's sister. No, that monster is not my brother. My real brother is smiling at us from heaven.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a nice sentimental one, too. I think that's how the episode ends, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. She's choosing not to remember her brother like that. She's remembering him from before. That's probably only, yeah. And that's probably why she's still able to talk to her brother's murderer.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Metal Don, Jake, what do you have?
I went with episode 23 when Tachibana and Shiro went in the cave, and he said, "That's an interesting Jack-in-the-Box."
The skeleton. Oh, my God. Yeah. You could tell these characters have just seen so many things that a skeleton popping up at them doesn't even faze them anymore. They are so unbothered. I'm not 100% sure how to feel about that, to be honest. All right.
I think it's hilarious.
It is pretty funny, I will admit. Next up, we have the Space Deputy Award in reference to Space Sheriff Gavin for the best character. I thought this would be a little bit surprising, but given our discussion tonight, I don't think it's quite as surprising, but I gave it to one of our Kaijin of the Week. I know there's a lot of good choices, but mine goes to Mantis Meringue, because I think it's a very clever design, especially with the boomerangs basically being his claws and the fused Siamese twin heads that he has. He's such a weird, kind of creepy design, and, with some excellent design elements. So that's, I had to give it to him. And he was a pretty effective kaijin as well. Some of the other kaijin ended up not quite winning out because they had cool designs, but then they kind of sucked at their job. But
right.
Personally. Sentai Guy, what do you got?
I'm going with Heater Cicada.
Oh.
Because I thought he had some good dialogue, and whenever he was portraying, when he was being a Taguchi Hiromi, playing Dr. Taguchi's daughter, I really thought that that actress did a really good job of selling in that she was really concerned. And then when it came time for her to be Heater Cicada, she turned on like, oh, that's actually the kaijin, because she started taking on some of his mannerisms and stuff. And I just thought that Heater Cicada was the best characters.
Yeah. Are you telegraphing your next award?
Probably a little bit, yeah.
Probably. Metal Don, what do you got?
I went with the Rider Scouts.
Really? I was secretly hoping the kaijin were going to sweep this category this week.
Yeah.
But...
No, I mean, they're always on point. They're always willing to help. They show that they actually train and to help. But yeah, I think they are really good, especially for Shiro and Tachibana, to teach them, martial arts, how to be good men.
It's a very good point. Was there a particular scout in this batch of episodes that stood out to you?
No, not really. Just mainly them as a whole.
Them as a whole. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have done a really good job of implementing the urchin spy network that Sherlock Holmes had in the books, and they've really brought it forward into this, because they really are. They're not making the adults look stupid. They let the adults do the adult stuff, and they're doing what they can. And like I said, when they do confront it, it's just they're doing just enough to get away. Just even with that whirling device, it's not really going to defeat the monster, but it's enough for them to hurt them so they can run away. So
I hadn't thought about that, the Urchin network that Sherlock Holmes had. That's a good point. But anyway, next up we have the Jason David Frank approved award for the best performance, obviously named after the late great Jason David Frank, who played Tommy Oliver on Power Rangers. I actually kind of have two because I was a little bit torn. I'll mention my runner-up first. My runner-up is Fudeko Tanaka, who was the sadistic old lady in episode 24. Good Lord, she plays that a little too well. Creepy old ladies are always a hit when you're making some villains. Just saying. And she had that energy down in spades. But my winner is, you may take some umbrage with me for this, Chris. We'll see. But my actual winner is Tetsuya Nakayoshiki, the V3 suit actor, because he does some crazy stunt work in that suit.
Oh, no, I don't have a problem with him. He does a fantastic job with what they're giving him. Mm-hmm. I just think that some of the people around him are not very good.
Yeah. And he's gotten some very nice mannerisms going on now with V3. You know, he's kind of got the characterization of V3 down with this. Yeah. And in conjunction with the voiceover work that the Shiro actor is doing, I think it's really helping to sell the character. And I kind of wanted to give it to him because suit actors need more love, man. They need
Absolutely.
They need more love. They really do. So, well, who was yours then?
I don't know her name because I couldn't find it on the Rider Wiki, but it is the actress who played the doctor sister, or the human form of Heater Cicada. She just did.
I can look that up for future reference in the next episode. I'll look that up. It's on the DVD set.
Yeah, she did a fantastic job of going from the concerned daughter to being, oh no, she's the villain. She switched her mannerisms up to, it felt like, okay, this is actually Heater Cicada. And a lot of times you don't get that connection because the kaijin and the human act so different, but she did a good job of bridging the two together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what was yours, Metal Don?
I went with Shiro. I think I went with him last time, but
I think you did.
Especially these episodes, he reminds me of a Japanese James Bond.
Oh.
By the way he dresses, and he's kind of got that detective work to him.
I can see that. I can see that. Man, when we get to our wrap up episode for V3, your list for, overall winners for this show is going to be, a little shorter.
It might.
It just might. I was trying to see if I could find the name of that actress on the Rider Wiki myself through a different route. Unfortunately, I can't. But her name is in the DVDs, so remind me to look that up for the next episode, or at least by the time we get to our wrap up episode, so that way we can actually properly name drop her. Because I know it was in there. All right, and then finally, we come to my personal favorite award. What the Henshin? WTH, what the Henshin for the craziest moment. The one name we carried over from Henshin Men. Mine, this is almost Rantmaster worthy, but there is an episode, I believe it is, I want to say it was episode 23, I could be wrong on that, where Shiro falls off a bridge and explodes. And yet he suddenly just appears as V3 on a ledge and then fights the kaijin-of-the-week on the bridge. I'm like, I saw you fall and explode. How? How? How did you do that, sir? How? And don't give me V3 26 Secrets bullcrap, okay? I'm not buying that BS today, all right? How? I don't understand. It's just inexplicable. So, okay, plot armor magic. That's all I have to say on that. That is the most glaring example of plot armor I think we've seen on this show so far. Okay, because they had a falling, exploding dummy prop and everything for Shiro. So, what the heck? Anyway, that's my mini rant master for my award. The Sentai Guy, what do you got?
Mine, crazy, because it was insane. It made me laugh like crazy. And it was also Tachibana just being his normal badass self, but he was trying to swat syringe spider with the paper. He just sees a spider on the wall, and he's like.
And then there's something like that later with Heater Cicada, but it was Shiro throwing something at
Yes.
him.
Yep. I just thought that was great. That is Tachibana to it. He just like he knew it was. He was like,
this works on the small ones. Let's see if it works on the big ones.
well, it was a smallish one at the time, but then he transformed and stabbed him with a syringe and mind control through needles.
Don't you hate it when that happens?
I do.
Yeah. All right, Metal Don. Final award of the night.
I got the beheading by boomerangs.
Decapitation again.
For the children.
For the children. Yeah, I will not get used to it. It's weird every time.
And it wasn't so much the decapitation, it was the effects that they used with the head.
horrible composite shot.
Yeah. Yes. Oh. You're killing the effect here, guys.
Yeah, kind of literally there. Yeah. All right, so those are our awards for this week. And next time, when hopefully StreamYard will not hate Chris anymore, we will be discussing what is essentially Disc 3 of the Generation Kakaida set. So we'll be talking about episodes 28 through 36. And I know that we're going to be starting with a banger because we're going to get the resolution to the commandants coming back, the generals. So I'm going to be very curious to see how V3 gets himself out of that. And then we've, let me. Now I don't have the link up anymore, but I know we've got a handful of bangers coming up for that. And then, interestingly, 2 episodes from now, we're going to get another writer because that's when Riderman shows up and we get a new story arc for the show.
Yes. The final story arc, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, the final story arc. And then that will take us through to the end of the show. And so we're halfway through Kamen Rider V3, guys. It's kind of exciting.
Indeed.
All right. So, okay. Hold on. Let me lead us back in there again. Sorry about that. All right, fellas. And now we've come to a very important part of the show. Say it with me now, because it's a meme. Shameless self-promotion. Yeah. Maybe the sync still isn't all that perfect. We got to practice that a little bit.
No.
We got to practice that a little bit. So, for those who are interested, I am Nathan Marchand. I am also the host of the Monster Island Film Vault, a podcast seeking entertainment and enlightenment through tokusatsu. If you enjoy hearing us talking on this show about Henshin Hero and Tokusatsu Television, go check out that one where you'll be hearing me talk about movies. And it's a film appreciation show. I do copious amounts of research on all of the movies. Currently, the show is doing what I call the Monster Island World Tour, so we'll be talking about international kaiju films, basically anything not made in the United States or Japan. The next episode that I am publishing as of this recording will be Pulgasari from North Korea, and then hopefully before G-Fest, so right before these episodes are getting, our first season of episodes start to get published, I will be publishing an episode on the lake from Thailand. And also go check out my author website, nathanjsmarchand.com, where you can learn more about all of my writings. I'm a contributing writer to Kaiju United. I've contributed to an essay to Giant Bug Cinema, which was nominated for a Rondo Award. I've got all kinds of stuff going on there. I've got book projects coming up, including a short story collection that Mr. Chris here helped me edit. I appreciate that quite a bit. This should hopefully be out in print as of this episode's publishing. And that's most of the important stuff. I'll make sure to include all the link trees and all that, all the good stuff. Oh, I should also mention, yes, I am voice actor for Scyther Inc. Productions on such shows as Power Rangers, the audio drama, which is why Rito keeps getting name dropped by Mr. Chris here. And, I've also, of all people, played Deadpool, and I should, by this point, be making my debut as Johnny Storm, baby, on the Avengers spinoff. I think I've got all the important stuff. All right, Chris, what do you got?
You can find me on Facebook and in the Legacy group on our Discord and in the Market Lot Lounge.
On Facebook and Discord.
Yes, on Facebook and Discord. And eventually you find me on other social media as well. I'm just slow to the uptake.
All right, Jake, the Metal Don, what do you got?
You can find me on the Power Rangers Legacy Facebook group and the Market Lot Lounge Facebook and Discord.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because those are our primary social media kind of like hangout spots for the listeners. We do have the Twitter if anyone wants to hang out with us over there on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Twitix, which sounds like the name of a rejected Destron kaijin.
There are a bunch of Twitixes.
Yeah, a bunch of Twitixes, yes. Yeah, it's run by Twitixes. All right, gentlemen, it's been fun despite our technical difficulties. And until next time, listeners, may your home movies not be ruined by shaky cam.
And may the power protect you.
Hello? Hello? Mother trucking hello?
Thank you for listening to Henshin Power V3, a podcast produced and hosted by Nathan Marchand,
Christopher Riner,
and Jake Hambrick.
If you'd like to send us feedback, we'd love to hear from you. So email us at henshin.power.v3@gmail.com.
Follow us on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter. Thank you, Danny DeManna, where our handle is at Henshin Power V3, and join our official Facebook groups, Power Rangers Legacy and the Market Lot Lounge. We also have a Discord server called the Market Lot Lounge. Check the show notes for links to all of them.
Subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and other great podcatchers. The podcast logo was designed by Rebecca Hudgens. Follow her on Instagram at super_r_illustrations.
Our theme song is a Joe the Hero remix by GVG Kid, which is based on a track from the video game Beautiful Joe.
All film and audio clips belong to their respective copyright holders, and no infringement is intended or implied.
Please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Podchaser to spread the word about the show. And until next time,
Schwatch! This podcast is copyright 2024 Moonlight Ninjas Media. Ha 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 ha!